Hey guys, welcome back. And today's book is called Boundless Grace. And Boundless Grace is a sequel to Amazing Grace. So it's the second part, the continuation. So let's see. Boundless Grace. Sequel to Amazing Grace, written by Mary Hoffman and Caroline Binch. So it's the same authors. And you guys remember when I did a book walk a couple books ago? So a book walk is when you go through the book and you look at all the pages. And at the end, you say what you think the story is going to be about just by looking at the pages. Looks like Grace might go somewhere. So when you read your books, you should do a book walk, especially if it's a brand new book. Look through it, and then you say what you think the story is going to be about. So you're making a prediction as to what you think will happen. Okay? Okay, here we go. Boundless Grace. Grace lived with her ma and her nana and a cat called Paw Paw. Next to her family, what Grace liked best was stories. Some she knew and some she made up. She was particularly interested in the ones about fathers because she didn't have one. You do too have a father, her ma said when she caught Grace talking that way. I must have told you 100 times about how we split up and your papa went back to Africa. And he has another family now, but he's still your father, even though he doesn't live with us anymore. Well, that wasn't Grace's idea of a father. She wanted one like Beauty's, who brought her roses from the beast's garden in spite of the dangers. Not one she hadn't seen since she was very little and only knew from letters and photographs. And in her school reading books, Grace saw that all the families had a mother and a father, a boy and a girl, and a dog and a cat. Our family's not right, she told Nana. We need a father and a brother and a dog. Well, Nana said, I'm not sure how Pawpaw will feel about a dog. And what about me? Are there any Nanas in your school books? Grace shook her head. Do I have to go then? Asked Nana. Of course not, Grace said, hugging her. Nana hugged her back. A family with you in it is a real family, she said. Families are what you make them. So all families are different. Just because Grace doesn't live with her father doesn't mean that she doesn't have a good family. Then one day, when Grace got home from school, she saw a letter on the table with a crocodile stamp on it. Grace knew it must be from Papa, but it wasn't Christmas or her birthday. Guess what? Ma said. Your Papa sent the money for 2 tickets to visit him in Africa for your spring vacation. Nana says she'll go with you if you want. What do you say? But Grace was speechless. She had made up so many fathers for herself, she had forgotten what a real one was like. So here she is. Grace is going. Welcome to Banjul International Airport. Arrivals. Grace and Nana left for Africa on a very cold, gray day. They arrived in the Gambia in golden sunshine like the hottest summer back home. It had been a long, long trip. Grace barely noticed the strange sights and sounds that greeted her. She was thinking of Papa. I wonder if Papa will still love me, thought Grace. He has other children now, and in the stories, it's always the youngest that is the favorite. She held on tightly to Nana, so Grace is kind of nervous about seeing her dad again. Outside the airport was a man who looked like Papa's photo. He swung Grace up in his arms and held her close. Grace buried her nose in his shirt and thought, I do remember. In the car, she started to notice how different everything seemed. There were sheep wandering around the roadside and people selling watermelons under the trees. Here she is. She's meeting her new family members. And then they reached her father's compound. There was the biggest difference of all. A pretty young woman with a little girl and a baby boy came to meet them. Grace said hello, but couldn't manage another word all evening. Everyone thought she was just tired, except Nana. What's the matter, honey? She asked when they went to bed. You got a father and a brother now, and they even have a dog. But Grace thought, they make a storybook family without me. I'm one girl too many. Besides, it's the wrong ma. So her thoughts on a family are changing now. Here she is. The next day, Grace started to get to know Nin and Bakari. The children thought it was wonderful to have a big sister all the way from America. And Grace couldn't help liking them too. But she had to feel cross with someone. Grace knew lots of stories about wicked stepmothers. Cinderella, Snow White, Hansel and Gretel. So she decided to be cross with Jato. I won't clean the house for her, thought Grace. I won't eat anything she cooks, and I won't let her take me into the forest. What do you think it means that she has to feel cross with someone? So she picked her stepmother. What does feeling cross with someone mean? Maybe it has to mean she doesn't like them, because she likes her brother and sister. But she says lots of stories about wicked stepmothers. So she's deciding to not like her stepmother. That's not a good idea. Jatu made a big dish of savory binchin for lunch. But Grace wouldn't eat any. I'm not hungry, she said. She's probably still getting over the long flight, said Jatu. When Papa came home from work, he found Grace in the backyard. He sat beside her under the old big jackfruit tree. This is where my grandma used to tell me stories when I was a little boy, he said. Nana tells me stories too, said Grace. Did she ever tell you the one about how your ma and I came to split up? Asked Papa. I know that one, said Grace, but I don't want to hear it right now. And she covered up her ears. Papa hugged her. Would you like the one about the papa who loved his little girl so much he saved up all his money to bring her to visit him? Yes, I'd like that one, said Grace. Okay, but if I tell you that story, will you promise to be nice to Jato? You're both very important to me, said Papa. Grace thought about it. I'll try, she said. So here they are, having their talk. Look where they are. Think they're shopping, maybe? The next day, they went to the market. It was much more exciting than shopping at home. Even the money had crocodiles on it. Do we have crocodiles on our money? Nope. Lots of women carried their shopping on their head instead of hurting their backs. Can you guys do that? You can try. Then they went to a stall that was like stepping inside a rainbow. There was cloth with crocodiles and elephants on it, and cloth with patterns made from pebbles and shells, and so many colors. We can choose cloth for Grace's first African dress, said Papa. Grace and Nana spent a long time choosing. No one was in a hurry, so she liked shopping. Who do you think she's talking to on the phone? The days of Grace's visit flew by. She played in the ocean with her brother and sister. She told them a bedtime story every night. She told all the stories she knew. Beauty and the Beast, Rapunzel, Rumpelstiltskin. It was amazing how many stories were about fathers who gave their daughters away. Did her dad give her away? No, he just doesn't live with her anymore. But she didn't tell him tell them any about wicked stepmothers. Sometimes Ma called from home and her voice made Grace feel homesick. I feel like gum stretched out all thin in a bubble, she told Nana, as if there wasn't enough of me to go around. I can't manage two families. What if I burst? Seems to me there is enough of you, Grace, said Nana. Plenty to go around. And remember, families are what you make them. Soon it was their last evening, and there was a big farewell party at the compound. Grace and Nana wore their African clothes, and Grace ate twice as much Binch as everyone else. Now you really must burst, said Nana. We're having fun dancing. Look at that. On their last morning, Papa took Grace to see some real crocodiles. This is a special holy place, he said. The crocodiles are so tame you can stroke them. Not like the one in Peter Pan, said Grace. No, these are special. You can make a wish on them, said Papa. Why do you think she compared it to the crocodile in Peter Pan? What did that crocodile always do? He always tried to bite Peter Pan. Okay, so those crocodiles are tame, so that means they're pretty calm, just relaxing. Grace closed her eyes and made a wish, but she wouldn't say what it was. Later at the compound, Grace asked Nana, why aren't there any stories about families like mine that don't live together? Well, at least you stopped thinking it's your family that's wrong, said Nana. Now, until we get back home and find some books about families like yours, you'll just have to make up a new story of your own. I'll do that, said Grace. And when you're home again, I'll write it down and send it to Jato to read to Nin and Bakari. The whole family came to see them off at the airport. Grace was sorry to have to say goodbye to her new brother and sister, and even her stepmother. But leaving Papa was the hardest of all. Waiting for their plane, Nana asked Grace if she had thought any more about her story. Yes, but I can't think of the right ending, said Grace, because the story is still going on. How about they live happily ever after? Asked Nana. That's a good one, said Grace. Or they lived happily ever after, though not all in the same place. Stories are what you make them, said Nana, just like families, said Grace. So Grace's story about her family can end any way she wants it to because her story is still going on. The end. Okay, guys, remember this story, Amazing Grace, was a sequel to Boundless Grace was a sequel to Amazing Grace, and I already have that one on here, so you guys can check that out too. Let me ask you some comprehension questions. What do you remember from the story? What do you comprehend? Who did Grace live with? She lived with 2 people and 1 animal. Who, you know who they were? They were Nana, Ma, and her cat. What's her cat's name? Papa. Okay, she didn't have who living with her. Who did she want to live with her? Like the storybooks. Her father. And she also said families always have a mom, a dad, a brother, and a sister, and a cat and dog. Families are not like that because my family wasn't like that. In my house, I had a mom and dad, and I had me and a sister. So there were 2 girls and a dog. Okay. Grace said our family is not right. What did that mean? She just meant that her family is not the storybook family that's always in the books, because the ones in the books, every family is different. The ones in the book, it could be a family or it could be different. You could have a family with just a mom and a son, or a family with a dad and 2 daughters, and they could live with grandma. So all families are different. Who went to Africa with Grace? Nana. What are the people selling under the trees when she got to Africa? People were selling a fruit under the trees. They were selling watermelon. Okay. What animal did the money have on it? Fish? Dogs? It had a crocodile on it. Okay. Grace compared herself to a piece of what? Toward the end of the story, when she was feeling a little different about being in between two families, she had her family in America and her family in Africa. She felt like she was a piece of bubble gum because she was being pulled both ways, kind of. Okay? And this story teaches you that just because your family is different doesn't mean you're any different than your friends. We're all special and we're all different, but it's not a bad thing to have a different family because every family is different. Okay? And Grace is still loved no matter what. She has a mom, a dad, and a family that all still love her. And Grace is boundless. That means her limits to what she can do, there's none. Boundless. That means she can do anything. Just like this story, she was boundless. She changed her thoughts on a family from the storybook family to all families. All families are different. And in Amazing Grace, remember Grace in this book, she had people telling her things she couldn't do, but she did it, and she did it well. Okay? So that's all for today, guys. See you next time. Bye.